Halo Siberman, apa kabar? Ada yang beda loh sama episode kali ini karena kita akan pakai bahasa Inggris. Soalnya kita lagi berkunjung ke Kedutaan Besar Inggris di Jakarta. Stay tuned! Hello Siberman, welcome to the Jelajah Ruang Siber podcast, the program where we explore the fascinating world of cybersecurity in all its dimensions. Did you know that Indonesia and the UK have been partners for over 75 years? Over the decades, Indonesia and the UK have built a strong relationship across various sectors, and our strategic partnership continues to evolve, contributing to peace, freedom, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region. Both Indonesia and the UK recognize the importance of collaborating to address cybersecurity challenges. This partnership includes cooperation in defense and security, enhancing strategic dialogues, sharing best practices, and fostering international cooperation to ensure regional peace and stability. Now, here's something exciting. Did you know that in 2023, Sir Oliver Dowden, who served as the Deputy Prime Minister to the United Kingdom from 2023 to 2024, and Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, visited the BSSN office in Sawangan, Depok? During this visit, he signed the renewed Memorandum of Understanding with the Indonesian government. That's remarkable, isn't it? It's noted every day that a UK Deputy Prime Minister steps foot in Sawangan, Depok. This partnership has already brought real impact. In 2024, the UK has worked with BSSN to improve the Indonesian government's public communications on cybersecurity and improve collaboration between 12 different ministries and agencies, building on the lessons we've learned from cyber attacks on the UK. And here's something more exciting, Siberman. At the event, the UK National Cybersecurity Centre was directly involved as a speaker. What a valuable event, isn't it? In the UK, the NCSC actively provides guidance to the public and industry to reduce the risk of attacks through cyber incident response, cyber essentials, and cyber advisor schemes. And today we continue the spirit of collaboration with a special discussion featuring His Majesty's Deputy Head of Mission to Indonesia and Timor Leste, Mr. Matthew Downing from the British Embassy in Jakarta. Together, we'll explore the UK's approach to cybersecurity and the valuable lessons we can learn from their experiences. Guiding this session, we have BSSN spokesperson, Mr. Arif Rahman Hakim. Stay tuned until the end of the episode because there will be a quiz with exciting prizes.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Jelajah Ruang Siber podcast where we dive into cyber security. I'm Arif Rahman Hakim, Juru Bicara Badan Siber dan Sandi Negara, your host for today's episode. This episode will focus on exploring UK's cybersecurity. Indonesia and the UK have been partners for over 75 years, strengthening ties across various sectors. Our shared commitment to cybersecurity drives collaboration in defense, strategic dialogue, and international cooperation to ensure regional stability. Today's podcast hosts a special guest, His Majesty's Deputy Head of Mission to Indonesia and Timor Leste, Matthew Downing, from the British Embassy in Jakarta. He also serves as Wakil Duta Besar of the UK to Indonesia, so I will address him as Pak Wadubes to keep our conversation warm and engaging. Pak Wadubes, having you with us today is an honor. Thank you for joining this podcast.
Selamat datang ke Kedutaan Inggris, Bapak Arif.
Terima kasih Pak Wadubes. Your bahasa pronunciation is excellent. And I must say that's wonderful batik you are wearing today. The pattern and colors look fantastic on you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for inviting me to be on this podcast. Yes, this batik is it's actually the embassy batik. So a few years ago we had it designed, and so it has lions and it has unicorns on it, which are the symbols of the UK. So you'll see them if ever you see a royal crest or something to do with the royal family. You'll see the lions and the unicorn. And actually, but we have a small gift for you.
Wow.
So this is a piece of our embassy batik that hopefully you can use to make into a shirt to add to your beautiful collection.
Thank you. Terima kasih Pak Wadubes. Okay, Yes, I agree. Fashion can indeed be a powerful symbol of collaboration. Seeing you embrace batik this way really highlights the close relationship between the UK and Indonesia.
Yes, and it's great to have this opportunity to be collaborating on something like cybersecurity, and the batik is sort of a good symbol of that as well. Where we have we're trying to bring some Indonesian to it with batik style, and then a little bit of British sense and identity to it as well.
It's fantastic. Pak Udwes, to start our discussion today, I'd like to begin by asking, how long have you been in Indonesia and what have been some of the highlights of your time here?
So I've been living and working here in Indonesia since August 2022. So about 2.5 years now. Lots of highlights, too many to say. I mean, it's a beautiful country, beautiful people, beautiful culture, beautiful food. And then from a work perspective, several highlights, but one that's particularly relevant was we had the former Deputy Prime Minister visiting Indonesia. And so I was accompanying him on all of his meetings and visit. And that included going to BSSN, where we signed a cooperation MOU, and our former Deputy Prime Minister also launched a cybersecurity program, a project, together with BSSN.
Okay, what an incredible partnership between our two countries. You mentioned cybersecurity. Could you tell me more about why the UK government is interested in cybersecurity?
Sure. So cybersecurity matters to all of us, and it's an issue which doesn't that crosses barriers and boundaries and borders. And so it's really important that we all focus on cybersecurity, but we don't just do it within our own countries, although that's important. We need to be working together and cooperating. And this is a really important time for the UK and the UK Indonesia. So last year we signed, we celebrated having 75 years of our diplomatic relations. So we're looking forward to another 75 years. And this year we're starting to look at having a strategic partnership between our two countries. So cybersecurity sort of underpins a lot of what we want to be doing as we cooperate more. And so what we've noticed in the UK is as the world develops, as everything goes so quickly and people more and more are doing things online, the opportunities are growing in the cyber ecosystem, but the threats and the challenges are growing as well. So we're doing quite a lot to focus on that, and it's important we work with partners. And then we have a new government in the UK, as you do in Indonesia. And there are two sort of key issues which come together that make cybersecurity really important. One is our new government is really strongly focused on growth, just as the Indonesian government is. But then also every government has a duty to keep its citizens safe. And so security is really important. And what we're realizing is that you can't really have national security and you can't have economic security if you don't have cybersecurity in the modern world. So it's important that we work with international partners, that we work with government ministries, that we work with academia, we work with business to make sure everyone's as safe and secure both in the UK and around the world.
What exactly is the UK government's vision on cybersecurity?
So we think cybersecurity is super important. It's very high on the UK government's agenda, both domestically and working with international partners. The UK is one of the world's most digitally advanced nations and very deep penetration, as Indonesia is as well. So it's important that we work together. The UK is committed to the UN framework on responsible state behaviour on information communication technology, which serves as sort of a framework and helps bind people together. And then for the UK, we realised that this is a fast-moving, fast-evolving ecosystem, the cyber ecosystem. So it's important that we adapt and innovate and evolve so that we're able to show that we are on top of the changes in the cyber ecosystem and changes in people's behaviour. And so within that, as we deal with the volatility and the changes that we see domestically and internationally, we've got 4 goals that as a government we try to focus on. So one is around making sure that as a country we're safe and secure and that all of our citizens are safe and secure when they go online. The second is around trying to make the best of all of our digital expertise and so on. So that's about being creating an innovative and a prosperous digital economy, because that can help people and businesses from across the country and indeed internationally as well. The third part of our vision, the government's vision, is around science and technology. So we really do have this ambition to be on the world stage, to be a science and technology superpower, because that again can help everyone's businesses to grow, people to grow, the economy to grow, and so on. And then lastly, I keep coming back to this point about international partnering. It's really important that as part of our vision, we are also seen as an influential, a trusted, and a valued partner with any of our international partners around the world.
That's insightful, Pak. Pak Wadubes, what are the key policies or frameworks of the UK approach to cyber?
So pillar 4 of the UK's approach and our framework is where we start thinking globally. So that's about how can the UK really take a global leadership role so that collectively and working together with our international partners, we can achieve a more secure and safe cyber environment, and therefore helping with our wider business environment and supporting our citizens. And then pillar 5 is that's where we want to be really looking and focusing on how can we detect and disrupt and deter whoever our adversaries may be in the cyberspace. So that could be state actors, it could be criminals. But what more can we be doing both domestically and working with partners to really get on top of that kind of behavior and stop it?
Speaking of that, it ties in perfectly with my next question, Pak. What challenges does the UK face in implementing these policies, and how does the UK address them?
So the challenges and problems that the UK is facing are probably similar to the ones that Indonesia is facing, that ASEAN is facing, that other countries around the world are facing. One of the main ones is that we have a national cybersecurity centre, and it reported between September 2022 and August the following year, 2023, there were nearly 300 cases of ransomware which were having an impact. So that's one of the main things we need to focus on. And it impacts on a whole range of sectors. So that was around academia, manufacturing, IT, finance, engineering. So ransomware is really quite a big challenge that we need to be working together on. Secondly is around, with all of the great new cyber tools and services which are created, which are very beneficial, they come with risk as well, and they can be misused by criminals and other state actors and so on. So we always are facing this challenge of how can we take the benefits but avoid the risks from any of the new sort of tools and services which are being created. The third challenge we have is around fraud. So fraud for any of our countries is a really big issue. And in the UK, the statistics show that around 80% of the fraud which is committed in the UK or against UK people has some kind of cyber element to it as well. So we need to be really cracking down on fraud. Then there's another challenge which is around state actors. So this is where we have a lot of attempted attacks on our critical national infrastructure. And what more can we be doing to be protecting our critical national infrastructure and therefore protecting our national security and so on. And then the fifth sort of main challenge that we also are facing is around AI, artificial intelligence technology. So again, that's got lots of benefits and good sides to it, but it is also helping hostile state actors, helping criminals to be able to evolve how they try to attack us as well. And so also trying to keep on top of that is another challenge that we face. We're doing quite a lot to try and overcome all of those things. So one thing that we do is that our National Cybersecurity Centre, it actively promotes and provides guidance to businesses and to individuals about what more they can do to protect themselves, what more they can be doing to detect when there is a cyber attack and so on. We also are really focusing on how we can crack down on criminal behaviour. So we have something called the NCA, which is the National Crime Agency. We have the National Cyber Security Centre, and then other law enforcement organisations in the UK and internationally. And working together, we're really trying to crack down on that criminal behaviour. And we've had some success. So one example of the success was around Logbit, which was a cyber crime group that we managed to crack down on. Another was a Russian cyber crime gang called Evil Core, where we were working particularly with, a number of international partners, but particularly the US and Australia, to sanction individuals from that group to really try to sort of get on top of it. And then we're also investing quite a lot on the UK side in our domestic legislation. So this year, the UK is going to be introducing some really quite sweeping legislation, which is trying to improve our domestic resilience to all of these threats. So there's going to be a cyber security and resilience bill, which will be going through our parliament. And then we're also talking to international partners and proposing some genuinely world-leading legislation, which is about ransomware, which is aimed at trying to make sure that the UK is a less attractive target to criminals and ransomware attacks. And then I keep coming back to this point about international partners. We really recognize that we can't do this on our own. We really recognize that this is only going to be possible if like-minded countries who are all sort of facing the same challenges, looking for the same opportunities, can work together. So that's another way we're trying to tackle all of these issues. And there's something called the Pall Mall Process Declaration. And that was where the UK led the way, bringing other governments together, along with industry, civil society, and so on, about how can we overcome that proliferation and overcome the irresponsible use of commercial cyber tools and services to help protect all of us. And then lastly, I mentioned the National Cyber Security Centre. And we also have a dedicated team within that centre whose job is to look at the serious cyber incidents which are impacting on UK and UK organisations. And so that team can do things like triaging incidents, it can provide support to any impacted organisation, and it can coordinate across our government to try and make sure that we respond effectively.
Terima kasih Pak, that's very clear. Policies provide the structure Pak, but cybersecurity is also about people and awareness. Pak Wadubes, what is the UK's national approach to raising awareness about cybersecurity?
So there's a lot that the UK is doing in terms of raising awareness. And it starts at all levels. So I have 2 teenage children, and I'm very aware that at their schools spend quite a lot of time trying to teach the children how to be cyber aware of the risks, how to protect themselves, how to not get tricked, and so on. So I think it starts even from with our children and the education system and making sure that side is happening. But then at a government level, we're also doing quite a lot in terms of awareness raising, including a campaign called Cyber Aware. And so in a way, it's quite simple. All it is around trying to encourage people to think about 2-step verification and to think about having strong and different passwords. So for example, combining 3 random words and so on. So the government sort of thinking is these are quite simple steps that people can take. They're quite effective, and hopefully they're ones that people can remember.
Terima kasih Pak Wadubes. It's still very much about people Pak. How does the UK maintain its talent to remain a world leader in cybersecurity?
It's a really great question. So in the UK, the cybersecurity industry and ecosystem contributes around $12 billion to the UK economy. So it's really important. And so in order to maintain that, we need to have a skilled workforce in the right areas and coming to the UK, because we recognize there's global talent that can go to lots of other countries, including Indonesia. So we need to do everything that we can to make sure that we are both attracting that talent, but also developing the talent within the UK. And so we do quite a lot of work on capacity building and around making sure we have the right skilled people, quality products, trusted services, and so on, so that organizations know what they can do and that we have the people to support it. One example is something called Cyber First. So Cyber First is an initiative by the UK government to try to attract and retain talent in this space. And so it offers bursaries for people that are in the UK or coming to the UK to study across the cybersecurity ecosystem. And so far there are around 1,200 or 1,300 people who have either graduated through that scheme or who are on the scheme at the moment. And this scheme is around where we identify where the skills gap might be. We then try to nurture the talent and try to make sure we have this cyber workforce fit for today and fit for the future as well. And really encouraging not just the number of people that we've managed to bring through on that Cyber First bursary scheme, but also we're seeing more and more very talented young women who traditionally haven't been in the cybersecurity space, that they've been coming through the system as well, so that we can build up a greater gender balance.
Terima kasih, Pak. As we come to our final question, partnership are key in tackling global cybersecurity challenges. How does the UK's interest in cybersecurity contribute to the UK-Indonesia strategic partnership?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. So yes, I agree completely that partnership is the only way forward. And as you mentioned, the UK and Indonesia are planning to have a strategic partnership. So this follows President Prabowo's visit to London in November last year, where he met the Prime Minister of the UK, and they agreed that we should now cooperate on building this strategic partnership. The strategic partnership will cover lots of different areas of the relationship, but cybersecurity is one of the key areas that will underpin a lot of the other things that we will be trying to do, because we can't have that national security, we can't have economic security unless we've got the cybersecurity to go with it. And we're starting from a really good position of cooperation and partnership already. So the UK Embassy and organisations back in the UK have been working with BSSN for quite some time. So we have a really good relationship that we can build from. We've been doing work around technical awareness, capacity building, policy research, analysis, help on the communication side, and so on. So there's a lot already happening there. We worked together with BSSN around the Indonesian government's public communication on cybersecurity work last year. And so that's another example of where we can be cooperating and learning from each other. We've done quite a lot of the technical capacity building and training as well. So, for example, a Capture the Flag campaign and initiative, which was really good. Involved, I think, 70 staff from BSSN and critical sector staff as well, really working together to see how we could take that area forward. There's been a lot of work on the economic growth agenda as well, and where cybersecurity is important there. So the UK has been working with Indonesia and with BSSN around training 800 or 830 SMEs about how they can be protecting themselves, how they can be using e-learning platforms and so on, so that they can educate themselves on the cybersecurity and cyber ecosystem. In the financial services sector, which is something very important and is a big part of the UK economy, we've been working with OJK about how we can jointly develop some guidance for financial services sector, particularly around fintech, financial technology. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we also worked together on the first ever army-to-army cyber exercise in Jakarta, which was called Marvel, Defense Cyber Marvel. So it was with the Indonesian army, it was with personnel from the British army, and then that was a bilateral exercise as part of a much bigger multilateral exercise involving, I think, around 1,000 people, 27 different countries all coming together. So that's a really great example of the way that we can and should be cooperating together, both UK, Indonesia, but also other partners as well. And that way we can protect ourselves, but also protect each other.
Terima kasih, Pak. It's remarkable to see such progress. Could you explain more about cyber capacity building in the UK?
Sure. So some of the examples I just gave were some of the capacity building we're already doing. And I think one of the things to emphasize is this point about the borderless nature of the cyberspace, cyber ecosystem. So it really is important that we're working together. And so within that, on the UK side, we have something called the ISF, which is Integrated Security Fund. And that has a particular portfolio, the International Cyber Portfolio, aimed at how can we work with our international partners to protect UK cyber resilience, but also help other countries with their cyber resilience. And that program, it's focusing on areas such as cybersecurity capacity, hardening cyber resilience, and also fighting cybercrime anywhere in the world, in particular priority countries, including Indonesia. That program has 7 different geographic areas, and it's currently spending around 41 million pounds. And it's really aimed also at detecting, disrupting, deterring hostile state actors, as well as criminal activity. And then it's also worth saying that there is one of those geographical areas that we're focusing on is Indonesia and the wider ASEAN region. This is an area of particular economic growth, great importance to the UK, a region that we want to be cooperating more on. And so the more we can do to help Indonesia and help ASEAN the more we're helping ourselves as well. So it's a real win-win.
Pak Wadubes, this has been an enlightening conversation. Thank you for sharing such valuable insight with us today. Before we wrap up, is there any final message you'd like to convey to our audience?
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's been a real honor and a great opportunity for us to be able to talk today. And I look forward to our countries cooperating more and more on cybersecurity and wider cyber work. I know that Indonesian people are very fond of pantun. So I have a pantun
Sure.
prepared for
Okay.
today. Jalan-jalan ke kota Jakarta,
Cakep,
jangan lupa membeli papaya.
cakep.
Inggris dan Indonesia bekerja sama menjaga ruang siber demi keamanan kita bersama.
Wow, what a great pantun, Pak. Pak, once again, we truly appreciate your time and thoughts. It has been a privilege having you on the podcast. Wish you all the best in your continued effort to strengthen UK-Indonesia relation. Terima kasih, Pak Wadubes.
Terima kasih, Pak.
Siberman, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Jelajah Ruang Siber. Thank you for tuning in and exploring the UK-Indonesia cybersecurity partnership with us. We appreciate your time and interest and hope you found this discussion insightful. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, stay safe and mari bersama jaga ruang siber.
And that wraps up our insightful conversation on cybersecurity with Mr. Matthew Downing from the British Embassy in Jakarta. Today, we explored the evolving threats in cyberspace, the UK's strategic approach to resilience, and the importance of international partnerships, especially with Indonesia, in securing our digital future. As we've heard, cybersecurity isn't just a technical issue. It's a cornerstone of national security and economic stability. The UK and Indonesia share a commitment to strengthening cybersecurity capabilities, fostering innovation and promoting responsible digital practices. With cyber threats growing in complexity, collaboration is more crucial than ever. Now, do you remember me telling you about the quiz earlier? So here it is. What is the fourth pillar of the UK key policies in cybersecurity? Please kindly check the description box below on the instructions to answer the quiz and participate to win the prizes we have prepared. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Stay informed, stay secure, and see you on the next episode of Jelajah Ruang Siber. Bye-bye.